That is the new Citroen C5 Aircross, a car that has changed substantially from its very practical predecessor. Not only is it bigger, so much so that it's actually now the length of about 2 Citroen Amis, but also it has loads of new tech inside, obviously a new design, and it comes in 4 variants. And 2 are new for the C5 Aircross, because look, this is an E-C5 Aircross, which comes in 2 different versions with 2 different battery sizes and 2 different ranges. And you also get a normal hybrid self-charger, which I think is going to be very popular, as well as a plug-in hybrid. And guess what? We're going to get to drive not 1, but 2 versions of the car to find out which is best for you and whether Citroen's found its mojo again, not just in small cars like the Ami buggy, but also in big, practical family cars.
And in this class, it faces some of the UK's best-selling cars, like the Kia Sportage, Ford Kuga and MG HS.
Oh, there is a lot to talk about in this new C5 Aircross, and there's a lot to show you in the way it drives, because it's so different to everything else. But first, I want to let you in on a little secret. If you wanted to compare cars, not just in pricing and boot space, but also in all the other details, well, there is an easy way to do that from the comfort of your own sofa. And that is by downloading the Cinch app using the QR code on screen now. Because in that app, we have built in a free comparison tool, which is super helpful. Sometimes I just use it when I'm bored and drinking a cuppa. But first, let's talk about the design, which, by the way, in this case is for the E-C5. But as I'll show you in an image now, the normal C5 Aircross is pretty much identical, barring a slight tweak to the front grille. Otherwise, it gets Citroen's latest design language, and that is no bad thing. I'm a big fan of their latest badge. I think these headlights look really cool, and they've got their subtle touches, including these color changeable bits down here. It all looks good, boxy and very SUV, which is of course the height of fashion these days. Now you'll spot on the side, we've got some black alloy wheels on this car. Now these are Michelin E premises, and they're on a 20-inch alloy, which is the biggest you can get not only on this car, Citroen's flagship, but also the biggest Citroen has ever offered. And you'll see with the roofline, they've had to keep it quite upright at the rear here to ensure rear headroom remains good. We'll test that in a little bit, but they have allowed themselves to have a bit of a coupe line back here, which isn't just a design thing, it's also to help with aerodynamics, as are these little vanes here. They'll be familiar from the other Aircross models if you've seen our videos before. They help with cleaning up the airflow, as do these bits here. And talking of the back, you'll notice it is a very squared off tail, but you've got a little roof spoiler here also there to improve efficiency. So design wise, I think it looks pretty good. Now, it doesn't matter which one you go for, you will still get the same general body shape and the growths in that overall. Now the car is way over 4.5 meters long, it's 4,560 millimeters-ish in length, and most importantly for space inside, the wheelbase, as in the gap between the front and the rear wheels, is now 60 millimeters longer than before, which I'm told should open up a bit more rear legroom, which we'll test in a moment. Before I show you the interior of the car, I need to tell you the key specs you can get. Now, the entry-level standard car comes with a hybrid setup, which combines a 1.2 litre 3-cylinder petrol engine with a small electric motor powered by 48-volt technology. And that, I'm told, will get you a 559-mile total range if you fill up the tank. Whereas if you go for the plug-in hybrid, well then you get a bigger 1.6 litre petrol engine under the bonnet and an electric motor, which combined with a petrol engine will give you 195 horsepower. And by the way, that's split about 50-50 between petrol and electric. But it also means you will get more than 50 miles of claimed electric range, which helps to keep this car's tax bracket nice and low. And it means in the city, you should just be able to drive around an electric most of your time. Which brings me on to the electric models, of which there are 2. Now, if you go for the entry-level one, that only has a 73 kilowatt-hour battery, and that one will give you 210 horsepower and also a 320-mile range, which is actually pretty good, given that the battery isn't ginormous. Unless you go for the bigger battery car, which has a 97 kilowatt-hour battery and 230 horsepower, but most importantly is a 422-mile range, which is really very good. Now inside, things get off to a pretty good start because Citroen has gone fully Citroen in this interior, and they have absolutely covered the car in comfort features. Now the chairs I'm sitting on, the seat I'm sat on here, just like all the other ones in this car, have special cushions and special positioning for where they put pressure on your back and your lower parts of your body, so they feel exceptionally comfortable and also nicely squidgy, which bodes well for supporting that comfortable ride. But also there's soft touch features elsewhere. Everything is cushioned. There's no leather in this interior, by the way. Everything is either bio-made or recycled materials or something more sustainable. And that includes the fabrics around the dash and on the doors of the car. They're all squishy, they're soft, and they feel nice, and they're supposed to feel like a sofa. That's what the designers say anyway. And they certainly do feel nice and lounge-like. But of course, this is a modern car, so you've got a lot of screens as well. Now, the screen ahead of me, it looks good. It's got some nice snazzy designs, and I like the bronze gold textured colors in there. But it's just mainly clear and easy to use, and it gives you a lot of information. But what Citroen is most proud of is this new vertical screen, which is actually the biggest fitted to a Citroen yet. Now, it is 13 inches across, and it features some pretty familiar tech. In fact, it's very familiar. It's the stuff we've seen on other Stellantis products, think from Peugeot in particular, and obviously other Citroens. But because the screen is bigger, it means the buttons are bigger and they're easier to access and use on the move. Climate control is, however, still mainly on the screen. So it is still a touch sensitive affair, but at least the buttons are bigger and therefore easier to use. And you do get a few buttons down in the shortcut menu below, or actually in the shortcut button tab below. So there's a few physical buttons for quick commands, including a car button, which allows you to open the annoying driver assistance feature buttons page, and you can just turn off the ones you hate. You also get a few other creature comforts. Now, it doesn't matter whether you go for the hybrid or the plug-in hybrid or the electric car, you will always get this central setup. In fact, you'll get this whole layout here. You'll even get a wireless phone charging mat that is called if you go for the higher spec cars, and you also get under storage as well, which includes a couple of cup holders, USB ports, etc. It's a nice functional cabin that's also airy and spacious up front, not least because we have a big panoramic sunroof, which is over 1 meter in length, and the front part of it even opens, so it's a proper sunroof. Oh, and I should let the tech lovers know that this infotainment system can actually connect to 2 phones at the same time via Bluetooth, which is handy if 2 of you like to fight over the controls all the time. Also, the head-up display, which is directly projected onto the windscreen, well, now it's massive. In fact, it's 30% bigger than the one you get in a C5X. And if you like using voice control tech to control ancillary things in the car or even driver assistance and stuff, well, this system has a much better version of Citroen's tech, and also it gains ChatGPT. So it means you can ask sensible questions such as, "Hello Citroen, turn the air conditioning up to the maximum."
Sorry, you can't do this by voice yet.
Well, that's rubbish. "Hello Citroen, make the cabin colder."
Sorry, you can't do this by voice yet.
"Hello Citroen, what was Atomic Kitten's best pop song?" Why did that just come to mind?
Atomic Kitten's best pop song is often considered to be Whole Again, released in 2001.
Okay, so it can't do useful features, but it can tell you which of Atomic Kitten songs were the best.
Thankfully, it does work. You've just got to talk to the system in its language.
Set my temperature to 15 degrees.
Elsewhere in the cabin, rear legroom is good and much improved, and there's a ton of headroom even for near 6-footers sitting in the middle. But old C5 Aircross owners might be disappointed to learn that the middle seat no longer gets ISOFIX access points, meaning just the outer ones can hold baby seats.
As for the boot, now it doesn't matter what you go for, whether you go for the plug-in hybrid or the electric car or even the hybrid, the boot space is always 561 litres, which, if I film with this camera over here, you can see is quite a lot of space. In fact, that is the amount of space you get when everything's in place. But actually, if I lower the floor down into its lower setting here, you'll see it's a really, really good amount of space. And in fact, of course, if you took this floor out entirely, well, then you have tons of space. There's actually space down there for a spare wheel, but I suspect in the UK market, that would just be extra room to play with.
And of course, if you want more space, the rear seats fold down in 3 parts and give you an almost flat floor.
Oh yeah, and that closing boot was just reminding me, the electric tailgate is only standard on the top of the range Max model, as are the 20-inch alloy wheels. And if you go for the EC5, well then that's also the case for the heat pump. Otherwise, you have to pay more to add it on. That seems a bit cruel.
Now, most Brits will probably be interested in the incoming standard self-charge hybrid C5 Aircross, which will mix electrification with a new 1.2 litre petrol engine, and it'll start from 30,495 quid, just undercutting the Kia Sportage in the process. But the models reaching roads first are the plug-in hybrid, which starts from just under 39 grand, and the EC5, which costs from £34,065, meaning it undercuts the popular and very good value Skoda Enyaq. That means this Citroen could now be the bargain of the class.
Now, I've pulled over because I want to show you this car's useful driver assistance technology. Now, the stuff I can't show you because there's not enough traffic around is the rear cross traffic alert stuff and also your blind spot monitoring, which is for the extended wheelbase. So effectively, even though you might not be able to see everything from your mirrors when reversing or driving down the motorway, you've got a lot of tech to help you. But the one thing you can see, and can see very well, is everywhere around the car when you're reversing, because you get a lot of reversing tech on this top of the range model. If I stick on the reversing camera, what you can see is I've got a nice crisp, very saturated image of the rear of the car, but I also have an above view as well. So let's see how useful they are. In fact, first, let me just show you how you can change the views. There you go, you've got a front camera as well, which is nice. Standard parking sensors, by the way, are not standard on the entry car. So really, you want to spec up into a higher trim to get all these bits of kit. Let's see if I can park next to that van. We're backing up. I'm going to use the guiding lines to get my positioning right. Look, it even gives me a front-facing camera, so I know I can get close to that curb. And the above view is great. The only thing I don't have, which you get on other cars, is of course the view where you can kind of see under the car. Don't crash into the pole, Sam. Handily, even though that pole was really small, look, it spotted it. See the little orange thing down there? So even really slim things that are even barely visible on the camera, the parking sensors help you with that. So that's good, because this is a big car.
It's also one of the most comfortable cars you can buy. Citroen's bump-absorbing hydraulic suspension tech turns speed humps into clouds and potholes that would shake your teeth out in other cars into gentle taps on your backside. Admittedly, even this quickest of C5 Aircrosses isn't particularly fast, but it's more than capable of powering onto motorways, and it'll even lift the nose under acceleration like a boat powering over a wave. This overall more relaxed demeanour is a nice contrast to the more sporty focuses of some of the car's rivals. And you can make it even more relaxing by adjusting the regen, or one-pedal driving, using the helpful paddles behind the steering wheel. It doesn't bring the car to a complete stop, but it's pretty close.
Now, interestingly, it doesn't matter whether you go for the bigger 97 kilowatt-hour or the smaller 73 kilowatt-hour C5 Aircross. Both of them are capable of 160 kilowatts of rapid charging, and both will get from 10 to 80% in about 30 minutes.
So there's a lot to like in the C5 Aircross. But what about the plug-in hybrid car? The good news is it rides just as well, maybe even a little bit better, as it feels lighter on its toes. But with less weight to shift, this plug-in hybrid Aircross properly gets up and goes when both petrol engine and electric motor are working together.
With our 53 miles of electric range in the plug-in hybrid, the car defaults to electric when you start up. So driving it initially is just like driving an EV. And I've actually selected the electric drive mode as well, just to ensure it stays in it, to show you that if I put my foot down, it's not actually that slow. Despite the fact that we have less than 50% of the car's total power available in electric mode, it still moves up to motorway speeds with no issues whatsoever. So even if you have a bit of motorway driving in your commute, you could theoretically not turn on that 1.6 litre petrol engine. And that's partly thanks to the fact that we have a 21 kilowatt hour battery in this plug-in hybrid. So it's not a tiny battery.
That said, the MGHS plug-in hybrid has more than 20 miles of extra electric range. So if it's EV range you're after, the MG is probably the better car. If you drive further than the electric range, official stats suggest you'll still get way over 80 miles per gallon of fuel economy, which is very impressive and is something we will definitely put to the test when we have more time with the car in Britain. And yes, we'll also be driving the normal self-charging hybrid Aircross, so make sure you subscribe to see that first.
So it's priced right, it drives lovely and comfortably like a proper French family car. It looks good and the interior is really spacious and practical. This is a really pleasant surprise. I know it would be good, but it has exceeded my expectations, even when you think of how competitive this class is. If you want a comfy, squishy French car to throw your kids in and to get places in a very relaxing manner, this is probably the car for you. But maybe you want a smaller car, but with even more seats. Well, handily, Citroen makes one of those, and it's also very good, but for very different reasons. So click the video on screen to find out why.